Okay, I started recording. So, Derek has asked very aptly, what is the connection between DreamFi and Fear versus Greed? So, I started Fear versus Greed um, as an alpha group. I mean, I was tracking a lot of different projects and I was offering the spreadsheet that I created for free. Hundreds of people were using it. It blew up very quickly, so I started charging because I was trying to make money off this information, right? I mean, I was trading all these launches and stuff, and if everybody's using the spreadsheet, then my alpha wasn't like my alpha anymore, right? It wasn't alpha at all if everybody knows about it. So I started Fear versus
Yeah.
Greed, and we had very successful project. I think we peaked at 119 concurrent paid members. Um, the Discord itself has like 1,400 some members total. And anyhow, DreamFi is the project that I have co-founded with two other people. One is our lead dev, and another is sort of our community manager. And I guess that's the connection. I mean, we all wanted to do a project, and what we wanted to do was get DAG nodes up and running. We think that this is the way. If you want to have a project with utility, it should be something kind of simple, but that makes sense. And as you probably know, you can't stake DAG nodes unless you have 250,000 DAG. For most people, that's something like 25 to $40,000, depending on what the market's doing at the time. It's too big of their portfolio. I mean, if somebody even has $40,000 to put
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
crypto, they're probably not going to put 100% of it into DAG. So that's sort of the idea is we're going to destroy that barrier to entry. But we're still in the iterative stages. That's why I'm so looking forward to this AMA with you guys because you guys are also doing a node project in a time when nodes have suddenly become passe. And um, but before we get into all that, um, let me make this announcement over at Fear versus Greed.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, do you? I'm sorry
So
about the dead
what
air.
I'll do right now,
Yeah, go ahead and introduce yourselves,
yeah,
please.
excellent. Okay, so I'm Derek, and I'm the CMO of Magus Nodes. I'm the head of marketing, so I deal with all the AMA bookings, getting the influencers on board, things such as that. Getting all the pin posts, just getting Magus out there to the whole world. And when I do say the whole world, I do mean that as well. I've also got all the international mods in the Discord, and we do plan on making Magus a real
Uh,
most of the team are in the UK.
n-
And as you can see, I've also got Nolan here. Nolan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey guys, I'm Nolan. I'm the CEO of Magus Nerds. Derek kind of summed it up perfectly there for us. You know, outside of outside of the whole node situation, what we are Magus Nerds, we're also looking to expand our whole ecosystem, and having nodes as our starting point is definitely going to help.
all right, wonderful. Thank you guys so much for being here, by the way, and also thank you for the audience members that have showed up so far. If you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. We'll bring you up on the stage right away. And if you want to post questions in the chat, we will try to answer them as soon as possible. We don't want to make anybody wait. I guess with that being said, yeah, Derek, do you want to launch into a brief overview of Magus?
Yeah, it's pronounced Magus. However, Magus is DeFi as a service. So you may have seen these other node projects pop up, and the typical node is a validator on the blockchain. So that is something that will confirm transactions on blockchains such as Ethereum. However, that is not what we are. We are DeFi as a service, meaning our nodes will give out rewards. So 100 Magus tokens will make one node, and one node will give out one Magus token per day. And that means with absolutely zero price movement and zero tax, that it would take 100 days for you to be risk free. However, that's not the case, but we can touch on tax and things like that later on.
Okay, great. What kind of ratios are we looking at here of treasury liquidity? And give us the breakdown about it. If somebody wants to node up, how does that break down?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Nolan, do you want to handle this?
So is this in terms of funds that we've raised? Sorry.
Well, let's say I make a node. What percentage goes to the treasury, for instance, and where does it all go?
Got you, got you. So yeah, it's 100 Magus tokens to make a node. It will always be 100 tokens. And from there, it's split between the treasury, development, and the rewards pool. So 80%, which is 80 tokens, goes back to the rewards pool, just to, keep that recycling of tokens, try and keep rate as low as possible. And then 10% is sent to the treasury, and then 10% is also sent to the development. And the way these two percentages are set up is it should automatically sell them to stablecoin. Because when we're investing with the treasury, we don't want to have this mass amount of Magus tokens that we then have to sell. But if we did get to a point where the sell pressure may be a bit too much, we can just instantly swap it over. So we have that flexibility there.
Okay, I love that you guys are doing 80% to rewards. In my opinion, 70% is sort of industry standard, and I sort of have always fudded on anything sort of less than 60%. So 80% is great. I think that's definitely one of the highest in the industry. And right, don't you guys think so? Can you think of anybody who does higher than 80?
Honestly, I couldn't, but I also can't think of another team that is dedicated, focused solely on the community. I mean, it's really where our intentions lie. So that's the whole reasoning behind it. And also, you need a really good way of recycling tokens, because if you don't, the project just is not going to work out. It's as simple as that.
Well, I don't know. I doubt you guys have listened to any of my previous AMAs, but I don't usually get into tokenomics and things like that. It's more of trying to find out the personalities behind the team. But if you guys want to talk about tokenomics, we certainly can. It's something that I think about and worry about every single day. Um, have you guys thought much about price shock? Do you know what I mean by that? This is like if you have so much buying pressure
I'm
when
guessing you mean like.
it means that the tokens run low, so the price starts to um, skyrocket, unsustainably skyrocket, because the tokens are so scarce.
So the good thing about is when we initially launched, 90% of our supply isn't actually available yet. And our inflation rate is so ridiculously slow just due to the fact we have this it's only a 1% ROI, and 80% of pretty much anything's just going back to the rewards pool that we do fully expect quite a sharp uptrend, I guess you could say, or rocket price shock, right? Which of course will be beneficial to us. And I guess it's worth mentioning here, our pre-sales actually done 50% nodes, 50% tokens. This was chosen by a community vote, so it instantly cuts our sell pressure by 50%, and then followed by people who decide to make tokens with nodes of their tokens. So this price shock won't have that much sell pressure either. So ideally, what we want is stability and sustainability, right? So as long as we can keep trading at an acceptable volume where we can keep developing and keep bringing out new things, then we're happy.
Do you guys have the ability to inject tokens into the liquidity pool without an even amount of payroll token?
Um, I mean, we have 500k tokens that are going to be locked up for liquidity providers in the future. But I mean, I don't think we'd be looking at adding to our LP without, stablecoin to have that one-to-one of it. We're looking at having a yield farm with Sphinx Labs, and that will help strengthen our LP pool when people pair our token with some USDC. So that's the only kind of LP growth we'll see. But another way will be just through our treasury who we have. We'll look at be doing buybacks, and this will work by us buying tokens and then moving it over to the rewards pool.
So explain to me how and Kurt, I see your questions. Very good questions. If Nolan and Derek want to go ahead and take a look at those, I'll be reading those soon. Yeah, well, actually, he says when launch. And before we move on, I always forget. It is actually the most important question is what is the next date that you can tell to future users of your project to look out for? It's tomorrow, right? I mean, tomorrow is the full launch. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, that's indeed true. The official launch date is tomorrow at 9 p.m. UTC, which is less than 24 hours now to go. And the launch of our peer-to-peer is within a week of that, and that's also quite a big part of our system.
So explain what you mean by the peer-to-peer.
So what we see with a lot of these node projects, I don't speak for all of them, but a lot of them don't really offer any tradability of your nodes. Like, sure, you may be able to send them to another address. In terms of buying and selling, that has a lot of risk, right? Like, you may send someone your money and you don't get a node, or you may send a node and you may not get the money. So what we're looking to do is introduce a peer-to-peer trading platform. The reason for this is we do have a limited supply of nodes, and eventually we'll reach that, right? And a node is an asset, and in our minds, nobody should have to be stuck with an asset if they don't want to be. Especially with crypto, so keen on the promotion of decentralization and owning 100% of whatever you're holding. So having the option for users to be able to buy, sell, trade their nodes is something we're quite passionate on, and we had to build this from the ground up. And essentially, it will allow users to buy, sell, and trade their nodes. And the long-term goal of this is to kind of become the OpenSea of the node ecosystem, right? So when these other projects come out, and we can kind of help them get that tradability aspect and get them on our platform, we benefit from that by we become multi-chain. Our branding, we're no more than just we're known as more than just the nodes. We're known as the Magus ecosystem, and we get 1% trading fee as well. And this is all done in stablecoin, so it doesn't affect our LP in any way. If anything, it bolsters it as a portion of that money goes towards the treasury.
Gotcha. I wish I could sell my Fire nodes on your marketplace right now, but I guess I just have to wait.
Yeah.
I guess let's not make Kurt wait. Let's launch right into these questions. And what I found is that once people start hearing the questions answered, other people start asking. So unless you guys, I'm sorry I didn't give you a chance to do a sort of a complete pitch. Um, do you want to do these questions and then I'll give you guys sort of a few minutes to, does that sound good?
Sure, let's do the questions.
Are you worried about the 80-10-10 split, being that 80% is going into the reward pool? And this question is coming from Kurt. Do you have a way to become self-sustainable after a given point in time and not have to work with Ponzi-nomics / compounding issues? Well, Kurt, the I guess the thing is that I don't want to speak for these guys, but if you go the other direction and you go with a lower liquidity split, then there's actually far more risk to the investor. So that is a balance, and it's funny that I actually never heard anybody say this before. Like, if I saw a project that was doing a 95 into rewards, to me, that would be like extremely bullish. But he makes a good point that if you don't have a big treasury, then you certainly can never support the project. Now, I know what the DreamFi white paper says about this issue, but go ahead, Nolan or Derek, go ahead and take it away.
So what we see, we spent a lot of time researching before we even came up with the branding for Magus, and you see a lot of these projects initially launch with a lot higher APR than what we're offering right now, right? You see ones with tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands to millions of APR, and then what we see is, we see that initial huge spike, and then these whales sell for huge profit, and the price just keeps going down. We saw this first with the own forks, and then we saw it with the nodes that first came out. They then just have to keep dropping the APR, but by then the damage is done, right? It's too late. I like that you touched on the reward split. The higher it is, the better generally, right? Because it can get to a point where it's almost deflationary, and paying out 1% a day and having a deflationary model is absolutely insane. Do I think we'll be deflationary? More than likely not, right? But I think we're going to be at a point where we're introducing new tokens at a very low rate, almost like Bitcoin, right? Like so many people are holding it. And that's essentially why the price just keeps rocketing, because they believe in it more than just the fact that it's a digital currency. It's a hedge against inflation. Well, everyone has their own reason for holding Bitcoin, right? But anyway, so our long-term goal is Magus nodes. You can almost compare it to the fact like a Ponzi-nomics, right? Let's be transparent here. Like there is that inflation side of it, right? But it's at a rate where our treasury will easily outpace our inflation rate. And what was I going to say now? My brain has stopped working. And yeah, so our whole thing is to introduce during this whole stability and sustainability, it's going to last for at least 12 months. And during that time, we have so many products that we're bringing out that will help sustain us, like the peer-to-peer marketplace. We're bringing out an NFT collection that has both the artistic and the use case value. We have a few things that I can't really mention right now, but they're both either in development or have been developed. There's a lot of things on our roadmap that kind of add to our sustainability. So overall, we do believe we can become self-sustainable just from the fact we have that limited supply, and we're offering, we have a use case right outside of the nodes. We have that peer-to-peer marketplace and everything else that comes after it.
Yeah, and I think it's worth mentioning as well, whenever we do run into problems, such as a multi-signature wallet on the Kronos chain, we did some research and we just could not find one. We talked to multiple owners and they're like, yeah, we just ended up using a multi-sig on a different network. We was like, no, that's not the case. So we went ahead and we've developed one, and our multi-sig wallet will be on the Kronos chain. So yeah, we are very... can't think of the word, but if there's any problems, we know how to solve it.
Kurt says, so are you a NAS or a DAS? I've seen it both ways. Well, if it's a marketplace sort of thing, I mean, both of these are catch-all terms, right? When I think of a DeFi as a service, I think of somebody who's doing LP staking, farming, things like that. When I think of nodes as a service, it's either they actually have an endpoint node, or they're actually strengthening the blockchain, or most likely they're investing into other nodes. So they're saying, DeFi is blowing up.
Yeah.
We are experts in DeFi, and you'll do better just by letting us handle it, because it's like a full-time job. I mean, at one point I was in so many projects that I was like relieved when a project died, because it's just one less thing I had to worry about. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, I do know what you mean. And also, we are definitely a NAS, we are a DAS. So it is DeFi as a service.
Just to add on to that, that's not to say we wouldn't be looking at validator nodes in the future, right? If our treasury got to a point where we could invest in, bolstering the Kronos ecosystem, then it's definitely something we'd look into.
Oh yes, definitely.
Your treasury is primarily going to be getting this marketplace. Is that true? up and running, or is that not true?
So, do you mean, sorry, are you referring to the fees that we get from the marketplace going,
No,
where do those,
I'm
does that
talking
1% go to?
I'm talking about the money that is being raised in the treasury. What is the primary use of that money? And isn't it to get the
Okay,
marketplace? I mean, I know you said the marketplace would be up and running a week from launch. Isn't that what you said? But the actual money from the
it is
treasury,
indeed.
this is going to be to promoting and developing the marketplace. Isn't that correct? Isn't the marketplace your primary goal right now?
So we actually have a treasury and a development wallet. So development's use of things like salaries, marketing, bringing on new team members. So that's actually what we'll be using. The treasury, our core use case for the treasury right now is just to keep growing it, for the simple fact of maintaining a runway to help support this 1% ROI, right? So in simplest forms, what our runway would do is it would say, say we set the runway to 200 days. Say we had to use all of our treasury funds to keep the price chart at a high enough level. We can keep paying out these rewards. If it went below 200 days, that's when we know we either have to drop the APR, or we need to buy a shit ton of tokens, right? But our goal is, because we have this low APR, we can actually have our runway sitting at like somewhere between 600 to 800 days, right? So we'll be nowhere near that 200. So we can, if we wanted to, we could actually be offering higher APR, but because we're sticking to that 1%, it gives us a lot more breathing room to and have that time to grow our treasury and keep growing it. So essentially, it's more of a fail safe to just keep sustaining that APR and bring in new investors.
Are you aware of any other projects building a multi-sig on Chronos?
No.
Not Crow. What did I say? Chrono on Crow. I think of it as something else. Um, okay. Are you aware of any other projects building a node marketplace?
Yeah, we've heard rumors, but I don't know. There's no one that I can think of that's actually pulled through with it, and very soon we are about to. So that puts a smile on my face. But I'm sure there maybe is one or two out there that we're just unaware of. But honestly, no.
Yeah, I was just curious. Like I said, I actually sold my breweries from Tavern. I sold them weeks ago, and it was sort of a somebody gave me the tip. Somebody said, "Hey, the price for breweries is like not too bad right now," and I said, I'm gonna take this shot." But honestly, it was a nightmare. Their DApp was so buggy. I actually had to use a partner to give me information from his DApp because I couldn't tell what the floor price was because it was so buggy. My point being that I would have loved to have used um, Magus. I know that'll make Derek happy. The Magus marketplace. I think that Magus is acceptable. I mean, I'm familiar with the word. I've always called it Magus my whole life. But I've also heard it called Magus.
You know what I think? I think it's maybe one of them UK/American things. Like, what's another one? Is it aluminum?
Aluminium, you mean?
Yeah, yeah, exactly that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Here we go. Do you have partners for the marketplace? What a great question. Do you guys have any partners for the marketplace yet?
Yeah, so we've definitely seen some interest already, but I think a lot of people are honestly on the fence, and they also need to be compatible. So we're definitely in talks with some people, but again, what we're really focused on right now is getting the launch, getting the D app out. Then we can start knocking on doors and also start answering more questions about the potential partnerships or the other projects that are interested in using it.
maybe we could have a DreamFi collaboration. No, I don't think that we're gonna let people sell their nodes. In our case, it's an issue of complication, overcomplication, and overwork. Um, eh, there's also some questions about sustainability. Um, for instance, the most famous project that let you sell their nodes was Universe. Um, but of course, the reason that Universe
Okay,
failed had
so
nothing to do with the fact that you could sell the nodes. It was the fact that it was so heavily botted, right? It's you had whales who bought in
yeah,
early.
and also
Go
yeah,
ahead. Go
so
go ahead.
also this is something that we can implement if needed. So if we found that our marketplace nodes was being really undersold, we can implement a minimum charge or a minimum listing fee if it is required. However, if we do see a node going for an absolute bargain, Magus Nodes is more than willing to buy it, relist it, wait, take the profit, put the profit back in the treasury, and again, it just benefits the whole community.
Yeah, that it certainly does if it works out in that regard. Um, there's a very good argument for both sides. I mean, when I first entered this space, one of the things I didn't like was that I could not sell my nodes in basically any project. Um, but then with projects that do let you sell your node, it has been very spotty. It's been extremely spotty. But I would say that in philosophy, the more options, the better, right? Letting the people sell their nodes is the right way to go. Like ultimately, in the perfect world, you would be able to sell your node. So I can get on board with that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's your asset. You should be able to do with it what you want, realistically.
Michael, the guy from The Big Short that shorted the housing market in 2008, they made that movie about him.
Hmm?
He wouldn't let people sell their nodes, right? He said, "I'm sorry, you are locked in. Read the contract. I know you want your money back, but we are underwater right now, and we're going to see this thing through." You know what I'm talking about, right? What's his name?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I don't know, but I do know who you're talking
Michael
about. Yeah.
Burry. Michael
Yeah, everyone
Burry.
was suing him, but I bet they stopped suing him after they made a shit ton of money. So,
I
but
think
yeah,
that they made
wasn't
like
really the best
5x.
solution.
Yeah, I think they made 5x. I could be wrong about that, but I think ultimately the people that were trying to sue him, yeah, they ended up getting 5 times their investment like a year later. He got
It'd be
he.
funny if they still sued him.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he would love that. Uh, he um he actually didn't do as well as he should have. Like his bets were really good, but he got destroyed by fees. And that was very unfortunate. They really milked him. He should have sued them because it was the same people that manipulated the market that owed him money that he was paying. See, the longer they manipulated the market, the more he had to pay them
Mm.
because he had a really
Yeah, I
bad
was gonna say because he
contract.
got in. Yeah, he got in really early, didn't he? Which was, I guess, is smart on his side, but then it also meant he missed out on profits and probably lost a shit ton beforehand, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure the exact contract, but it's like the Theta was eating him alive. But it wasn't Theta in the sense that his contract was getting less and less valuable. It was that he had to keep paying to keep these contracts alive. Like he was basically rolling them over. And I think he was buying short. Anyway, I think it was the Theta. Um, let's move on to the next question. X Myth has a great question. Who is the math wizard in Magus?
So we do have a developer called JD. He's not on the core team, but I've known him before we even got into crypto. So he's kind of the technical guy. I'm more of just I do a lot of research, right? So, in terms of any kind of answers outside of Solidity, that's in regards to the project, I generally know the answer. So, anything outside of the technical stuff, I guess I'm that guy. But yeah, technical stuff is JD.
When you guys did your modeling for your runway, how did you estimate the buy and sell pressure taking into account compounding?
So I can't give the exact figures here just because JD isn't here, but we based our model off just our research, right? Researching how well other projects are done based on their previous APR, and when they reduced it, and saw how well they did when they reduced it, and all that good stuff. We also took into account our initial sell pressure, our initial sell tax that's quite high and then reduces. So, and that's also bringing in a lot of money for the treasury. And overall, there's a lot of factors in place that kind of, at least for the short to midterm, put us in a very good position for our runaway. Unfortunately, as I said, JD isn't here to give the exact, calculations of, how the specific dates and how long we could specifically run it for. But just from our research and what we actually have in place, definitely for the short to midterm, we're sorted. Like we'll be fine for the APR.
You know what? I muted my microphone and then started talking. Let's try that again.
I do it all the time.
Why did you choose to have it cost 100 tokens rather than the usual 10?
I mean, I don't know if 10's a standard. I'm sure there's dozens and dozens of node projects, right? And they will have their own specific price. Maybe like 30-40% have 10, but I mean, there was nothing really particularly, specific for it. It's just, we decided that $1 for a launch price is good. 100 tokens is also nice. It's a lot easier for people new to crypto to understand. So, just went with 100.
I understand. When I designed DreamFi, the very first rough draft, I went with 10 and then I changed it to 100. But then I took a poll at DreamFi and I put on the poll 10 tokens, 100 tokens, 10,000 tokens, and 3 tokens. And it was split between 3 tokens and 10. Which was strange because I thought 3 tokens would be great. 3 Z's to make a dream, right? Just like the logo. But people like it. People liked. Yeah, I think 10 is the standard. I mean, to be honest, I modeled a lot of my thoughts on Fire because that's my favorite node project. But the truth is that whether it's 100 tokens or 3 or 10 million tokens, it actually doesn't change anything. It's simply you just have to mint more tokens and
Yeah.
you have to match the liquidity with the number of tokens, but it's all in ratio, or it's all, what am I trying to say? It's all relative.
No, it makes
It's all
sense. So,
relative.
like, I completely understand. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, it makes complete sense. I think also there was a lot of time spent on spreadsheets and calls and whether we should do this or not do this. And I think maybe if you rewind the clock almost, I don't know, a year ago, people really liked owning 1,100 tokens and 1,000,000,000,000 tokens because they like to think, oh, if it ever gets to $1 or if it ever gets to 1 cent,
Yeah.
I'm rich.
If it ever gets to $1, I'll be a
But that's the truth.
billionaire. I'll
But
be a
and
billionaire. Hey, I had some I
yeah,
had some Shiba
but
Inu. I'm not gonna say I never had Shiba Inu. And guess what? Yeah, I had millions of them, okay?
It's exactly that, but in reality, you have a look at the circulating market cap and what have you, and you realise that it's impossible. It's never going to happen. But I think for a very short period of time in the crypto space, it's really what attracted a lot of people. So yeah, we decided not to go down that route, and 100 tokens to make one node. It's a nice figure. It's good to communicate, and I don't know, we just like it.
All right, what is the token price going to be at launch? That's $1, correct?
$1 again.
Yep.
Nice and easy, nice and simple, nice to communicate. $1.
What chains are you going to be on? They are going to be on Crow, but their node marketplace will be cross-chain. Have you looked, is that, please correct me if I get any of these questions incorrect. That's correct, right?
No, yeah, I'm just sitting thinking you've clearly done some research, so yeah, it's nice.
Have you looked into a deflationary node model like Notify, i.e., starts at 1.5% and goes to 0.5%? Good question. It sounds like to me that they are prepared to lower the APR if need be. Is that the impression that I should be getting?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
if it did breach our runway, which again wouldn't happen for a very long time, we would, have to eventually drop the APR.
Are you worried about the state of the market for our launch?
Short answer is no. Long answer is, we initially had a short delay. That was partly because of the market, but we can't predict the future, right? What happens if 6 months from now Bitcoin's at 15K? We would be in a worse position than how we could be launching now, right? So, long term, we believe in crypto. We wouldn't be here if we didn't. So, no more delays. We're happy with what we got. There's still fresh money flowing in. Maybe more is flowing out right now, but there's always those fresh buyers. There's always billions of dollars of volume. Crow, has hundreds of millions of volume. So, we're not worried. We're just getting a small piece of the pie, and hopefully we can get a bit more than a nibble.
Thank you guys for your questions. By the way, Kurt, Sammy, X Smith, and everybody who's in the audience. I gave you guys all 3 whitelist. By the way, thank you for being here and welcome to the whitelist and thank you for your questions. Sam says, will the peer-to-peer sales platform be something that you make available to other tokens and chains? And the answer is that yes, that's the whole idea. It won't be licensing, it'll be a fee, just like OpenSea has a fee. Right, guys?
That's correct.
Yeah. X Myth says, what kind of past experiences does the Magus team have in crypto? You guys can talk about that if you want. I mean, Magus has done a lot of AMAs, but if you guys want to run through, and we also did introductions already, but if you guys want to field that question, you can. I'll go on to the next question unless you interrupt me. Um, are you worried that there aren't?
yeah, no, I'm
Go
more
ahead.
than
Go ahead.
happy.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm more than happy to talk about my experience in crypto. I mean, when I got into crypto, I absolutely fell in love with it. And I mean, I fell in love hard. So I started studying, I started printing things off, I started watching YouTube, and then I was like, I want to take this to the next level. So I went ahead and did an online college course. Now, anyone can do this, and I really urge everyone to do it. It's Allison courses. I got myself a cryptocurrency diploma. I then went on to pay 4 mentors to mentor me while learning crypto, getting all their knowledge as well. I then went on to co-found a launchpad, and since then I've worked directly with around about 10 projects, whether it be through marketing, assistant, team development, getting UI done, just anything, working on their tokenomics, really anything. So I'm very privileged to say that I have a vast amount of experience. I also co-founded a TikTok marketing agency focused solely on crypto. So yeah, and I'm only one part of the team. I mean, there are some team members that aren't here, so I won't talk too much about them. But one of them has been a moderator in the biggest Discord for cryptocurrency that I've ever known. Thousands and thousands of people. He has sat in hundreds, if not thousands, of AMAs, soaking up knowledge. And we've also got a graphic designer that got hired to do NFT projects that have sold out. And again, this guy has just got experience after experience. And that brings us on to Nolan. Nolan, do you want to talk a little bit about your experience?
Yeah, so my specialty is actually digital marketing. We have Derek here, luckily for us, for this project. But yeah, I've been doing digital marketing for over 4 years now. That included both working and studying. Been in the crypto space for nearly 2 years now. Started off with the fundamentals and, kind of made my way down into the DeFi and BSC, all that good stuff, all the EVM chains. My key I don't even know what to call it, niche, I guess, outside of marketing would be networking. I'm very good at networking, meeting people, finding people with the right talents, and it makes me very good for team building, whether it be for other projects or projects I've co-led or, strategized with. So, I've done a bit of that in my past. Some have been good, some have been bad. You learn from your experiences, and it gives you that experience. And you see all these projects launching nowadays, and you can generally tell before they launch if they're going to do well, or if it's just going to die in a day or two. So that's been a key experience there. I'm currently working as well. I do marketing alongside with Chad here, who's in the audience. We work for one of the top projects on the Phantom network, and they have an 8-figure treasury, and they're very innovative. They're actually a rebase token, but there's a lot more to it than that, including a stablecoin with very good APR. But I'm not here to show another project. So overall, the whole core team and even some of the other just team members have tons of experience, and I've built this team here, all who have brilliant backgrounds. As Derek said, he's amazing at marketing. So, we have a very strong team leading into a very successful launch.
Great answer. I may have missed some
I think
questions. Oh, go ahead.
no, no, I was just about to say, I think it's worth mentioning as well that me and Nolan and me and other members of the team, whether it be as a small group or individuals, have all worked together in the past as well. So this wasn't just a team that got chucked together for the sake of doing a project. This was a team that was specifically handpicked to do this project, because we know our experiences, our capabilities, and that we work together as a team. We all get on with one another. And I think when you're looking at a long-term project, a lot of people don't realize that teams can often just be chucked together, and it often doesn't work out. So it's just an added benefit that Magus has over a lot of projects that we've worked together so well in the past.
Yeah, team building is one of the earliest things you do in a project, and it's sort of like throwing a bowling ball. If you get the right team, that's like having the right spin on the ball, and you just know it's going to be a strike, even though there is a moment where the ball leaves your hands. And that moment is when you put the trust in the team. Is that, is that a good analogy?
Yeah, completely understood it. And I think also what's important is the people around about us. So let's just say, because real life does happen, outside of crypto. So let's just say our developer, he caught COVID and he was completely out of action for 2 weeks. Most projects would be at an absolute standstill, panicking, what we're going to do. Luckily, our network allows us to reach out to other people to say, hey, we need some assistance. Can you please come in and help? And they would be more than willing to. And that goes for marketing, graphics, anything that is needed. We have an almost safety net. So I don't know. It's just really nice.
Yeah, I mean, networking is key to success in most industries. I'm trying to think of one where it doesn't matter, and I can't. I guess if you're the world's best running back, you don't need to network, right? People just know who you are. But aside from that, networking is, and I'm learning more and more just how tricky it is and just how talented the people are that are good at it.
Yeah, it's exactly that. And I mean, there's a saying here in the UK that I like to say often, and it's your network is your net worth. Because if you have a great network, then your net worth will often follow.
I remember uh, my wife is an artist and she has sold um, a good number of paintings in the past, and she's been sort of out of the game for a few years now because we have kids
Hmm.
now. But I remember one of the great insights that we learned was networking. Networking is even more important than talent. I mean, if you give somebody half
Yeah,
the
yeah,
half the talent, but 10 times the networking skill, guess what? They're going to be 10 times more popular, um, even with half the
yeah.
talent.
It's very true. It is. It's very true.
It's just one of those facts of life.
No,
And
I'm not.
go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was about to say I'm not saying that it's necessarily right, but again, it is just a fact of life.
Yeah, as a business leader, these facts of life are much, much more important than as like a private individual. XMyth says, "Will nodes be infinite?" Let me just pause myself here. If you guys asked a question and I missed it, I apologize. And if you ask it again, I will ask it. I promise. This is an Ask Me Anything. And if I missed your question, it was a total accident. Um, okay. Will nodes be infinite? If not, will nodes have Magus tokens connected to it? Example, one node will be backed by one token. Well, that's an interesting thought that I'd never heard before. Um, anyway, go ahead and take this question, guys.
So the the total supply of the nodes is 100,000, so there is a limited supply there. And in terms of value of the nodes, obviously it's based on 100 Magus tokens, right? Because that's the mint price. But once we have those 100K fully minted, the actual price is just fully dependent on the user, and they'll probably base it on how valuable the token is. So in terms of backing price, there isn't really one, but uh, it's decentralized. It's up to the user on how much these are worth, how much they're buying, how much they're selling for. So
Well, yeah, I mean the token
so
price
yeah, who knows?
is determined by the balancer equation in the automatic market maker. That's dependent on what DEX you're using. Although basically it's going to be your liquidity divided by the number of tokens in the pool, multiplied by the price of the um, in this case it's a stable coin. Isn't that correct? You guys are paired with stable?
Yeah, USDC.
Yeah, so that makes the equation somewhat simpler, but it's still the same equation. Um, uh, Let me ask you guys, because you guys have already completed 3 pre-sales. You had a seed sale and then 2 whitelist sales. And you guys, isn't,
No,
no?
no. That's incorrect. So what you'll find with many projects is they have a pre-seed sale, they have a seed sale, they have a strategic sale, they have a private sale, then about 10 other made-up sales, which are just completely irrelevant. So when they launch, what happens is the people that was in the seed sale are dumping on the people that was in the private sale. The private sale people are dumping on the pre-seed sale, and the whole project just never gets anywhere. So over at Magus, we have tried to be as fair as possible. There has been one sale and one sale only, and that is the pre-sale. Now, there has technically now been 2 pre-sales because we've partnered up with Sphinx Lab and also did a small pre-sale over there that is currently running live right now for the public. So anyone here can feel free to hop over
Oh,
there and contribute.
you should have
However,
said that when I asked you what the most important date was. You should have said the most important date is now. The seed sale is running now. But go on, continue. It's true.
Okay. So this is how we've modeled it. Every single person in the whitelist or in the pre-sale, whether it be the whitelisted pre-sale or the public pre-sale that's happening right now, they will get their tokens at $1. So everything has been extremely fair. We've tried to be as fair as possible, and also that goes. What you'll find in a lot of these projects is the seed sale is really just the team buying the tokens. So they can then go on to have private sales and strategic sales and things like this, knowing for a fact that they've been able to sell their tokens at a higher price, so they're guaranteed to get money. And it's just not the case here. There's been no other sale other than the pre-sale. I suppose in this case you could kind of call the pre-sale the seed sale because it's how we've got the complete income for the project. But yeah, we'll just refer to it as the pre-sale.
So all pre-sale people are going to be getting their tokens and nodes at $1 token price.
Correct.
How many
Yeah,
whitelisters do you
correct.
have?
Well, so initially we managed to fill 100 whitelist spots within 55 minutes when we opened our Discord. It was absolutely crazy. But of course, this is crypto, and people just get bored, they forget easy, whatever it may have been. So we do actually have extra spots. I'm unaware of how many people have actually contributed, but I think the total figure right now is sitting around $120,000.
Oh, that's how much that you guys have collected so far, approximately.
Yeah.
Okay, congratulations. And 80% of that will be going into liquidity?
So 40% is going into liquidity, 30% to treasury, and 30% to development, and 70% of what is raised from the Sphinx will also be joining the rest in the liquidity. So initial LP would be looking at around 70,000.
Oh, okay. So the 80-10-10 is for post-launch.
Yes, so the 80-10-10 is based on when people use their 100 Magus tokens to create nodes. That's what happens to those 100 tokens.
So all of the development so far has been out of pocket. Is that sort of what I'm following?
Initially, yes. Myself and Derek. Well, development-wise, yeah, 100%. Everything has come out of pocket from either myself or Derek. The only thing that we've taken from funds raised so far is we allocated 10% towards marketing, and that's, booking things and such. So, or making partnerships and all that good stuff.
Sure, sure. And by the way, this AMA is $10,000. I don't know if we talked about that or not already. But yeah, I'll expect that in native token.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny you bring this up, right? Because just today I was on an AMA, which was free, right? And then afterwards, the owner of the chat messaged me and he's like, "Oh, because we had a really good AMA, what about you send me $100?" And I was like, "What about no?"
Now wait a minute. That sounds kind of reasonable. I'm sure that was a. I'm only angling because you can expect a similar message from me. Actually, Sammy, the guests only get 50% of what I make, so we're looking at approximately 50. I think I can haggle these guys down. So yeah, actually, you'll get paid in Fear versus Greed tokens.
Like you know what I like to think? I like to think of the marketing money and stuff. Although I'm the head of marketing and I can do what I want with the money, right? I like to think of it as the community's money. And trust me, you will not get someone that loves to haggle more. Um, I used to love going to car boot sales. Haggling is just in my nature. I'm Scottish. We're all a bunch of tight arses. Like, it's just in my nature to get a good deal. So whenever I'm going out there to do any marketing deals, it's always the best deal possible. And I have no issue at all turning a deal down waiting a week, going back with an even lower offer, and then them coming back and saying, "But wait a minute, you offered me 400 back then." I'm like, "Yeah, but that was a week ago. Let's talk now." And then what I often find is they're more than willing to accept my first offer. So it tends to work out. I mean, there's a saying that time in the market's better than money in the market, and sometimes time in a deal is better than money in a deal as well.
Oh, sure. Some of the budgets that I've seen have been completely shocking. Let me just say that I'm still shocked by some of the budgets that I've seen, and I've asked people. I said, you know that the first price that they say is like the sucker price. Like you're not supposed to pay the first price. Um, I really wonder what kind of life experience these people have, and that's true in most industries. It really, really, really is.
Yeah.
Did you ever wonder? I mean, doesn't anybody ever wonder how everybody else seems to make more than them? It's because you got to haggle. You got to haggle these people down a
Uh,
little bit, you know? I'm actually, I'm constantly in the middle of this. Anybody who's a homeowner is, right? I mean, you can't do all the work yourself. Sometimes you need some help and you have to haggle. Otherwise, you're going to be paying these guys $200 an hour.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy, especially in this crypto space. I mean, there's some services in crypto where honestly, if these people came to my house and asked for that type of money, it would be a punch in the face and get away from my property. It would be nothing but that. It's absolutely mind blowing. It really is. It really
Send them
is.
to your neighbor's
However,
house and
that
say,
is
"Oh, my neighbor, he really needs this service." I
yeah.
think
In
that
fact, he may even pay more. However, that is us coming up to the hour.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
This is a
so
last
that is us
call.
coming up to the hour. So, do you want to ask any final questions?
Yeah, let's do a last call for listeners, audience members. I will give out, I've already given out whitelists for participation, and if anybody wants to raise their hand or ask a question, we will certainly get to it. Otherwise, I want to thank Derek and Nolan for being here. We're truly honored to have you guys in the DreamFi server, and thank you so much for the audience members, especially those who asked questions. And oh, I see Derek is off has posted a link to the Launchpad. Perfect. Um, yeah, why don't you guys say a few words, and if there's no more questions, we'll go ahead and wrap it up.
Okay, so I'll finish off with this. Thank you for having us. And if anyone here is interested in learning more about Magus, I highly recommend joining our Discord because it is the main Magus hub. Other socials are available, such as Telegram, but again, the main Magus hub is over at Discord. And it doesn't matter whether it's Twitter, Telegram, or Discord. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them, and a team member will respond, usually within about 30 seconds because I tend not to sleep.
Awesome, excellent.
Um, yeah, from me, it's been a brilliant AMA. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been a good experience. You're a very good host, Caraway. You have a very nice voice, by the way. Hopefully that doesn't come off creepy, but you made it very enjoyable. I also enjoyed your knowledge. As those we've never had a host answer questions for us, so it's been quite nice. It's
Yeah.
saved my voice, so thank you for that. But yeah,
Well,
guys, overall, a
you're
brilliant AMA, and
you're
thank
welcome
you.
so much, and thank you for the flattering words. Let's go ahead and answer Kurt's questions, if you guys don't mind, because he did ask this earlier. He said, since you have a
Yeah.
node cap, are you worried about the token price once the node cap is reached?
So definitely we're not concerned, right? Our node cap is it'll take years for us to reach our node cap, right? And during that time, as we've touched on previously, we plan to continue building, continue growing our ecosystem to a point where the token has multiple use cases. One example of this would be the fact that we would be a decentralized autonomous organization. we would allow people to have a small portion of the treasury available for people to, create proposals on. You vote yay or nay with the amount of tokens you have. So, that's just one example of many things you'll be able to do with your token, right? And it'll become a point where the nodes are just, one you have available for the Magus token, right? So, yeah, long term, we're not worried at all because, short to mid term, we have, we'll be fine. And then when we do reach that stage, we'll have so many other things available.
Okay, wonderful answer. I hope that answers your question, Kurt. All right, guys, thanks again for being here. I'll get this YouTube video in the AMA channel, and I'll DM you as well, Derek. I'll get to you right away, and then you know give it a couple hours to process, and you'll be good to go. Thank you guys again for being here.
Absolutely fantastic. Thanks for having us.
Have a
Thank
great.
you.
And I'm sure we'll see you again.
Yes, I hope that we'll talk again soon. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks again, Nolan and Derek.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate.